Hey everybody, welcome back to the Zenith Super Duty build. You know, this is the first time I've actually sat in this airplane. I decided to hop in for the intro, and it's actually quite comfortable. I like it. I like the smaller panel too. Everything's easily reachable, but I can see I'm gonna have really good visibility out of the corners for that backcountry STOL flying. Now I'm gonna give you fair warning. This video is kind of all over the place. I edited it together the same order that I filmed it, and for some reason today I just seem to be jumping from one thing to another. But the good thing is, even though I'm jumping around, I'm getting little things done here and there on the airplane. So in this video, we're going to talk about the engine mount, the rudder cables, and some wings. I'm working on getting the engine mount installed, and Zenith provides these cool bolts. They've got a little plate welded on the end of it, and these are used to go through the engine mount bracket and the firewall and all the aluminum pieces on the firewall. On the top, you can see that bolt through the bracket, and that bolt comes through here through the engine mount with a nut on it. And the bolt is the correct length. This nut just isn't tight. That's why there's no thread showing. But it works perfect on the top. However, on the bottom, there's the bottom engine mount bracket there. It doesn't quite work. These bolts don't quite work, and I'll show you why. Back at the workbench here, I have the right side bottom engine mount. And of course I had them, they're steel, so I had them powder coated black. And you can see the hole in the front there where this bolt goes through. And I'm gonna show you why it doesn't work. If I try to hold the camera and do this with one hand, that's as far as the bolt will go in, right there. And it doesn't go in that hole because the only way to put this bolt in here is through like this. And of course you can see relative to the front here, it's going in at an angle. So the only way to get this bolt through the hole is to put it in straight like that. And obviously you can see back here, I can't do that because it's lower than the engine mount. If I go this way, the bolt goes in just fine. So anyway, I can't use these bolts here because on the bottom engine mount, the bolts cannot be inserted this way. Even a regular bolt without this steel plate on there cannot be put in this way. It has to go in that way. So I have new bolts that I'm using that will go in from the front back with these bottom engine mounts. I'm almost finished mounting the engine mount. I have reinstalled the top two bolts. I've got the top one on, I've got this bottom one on, and you can see how the bolt goes from the front towards the back. If we look inside here, let's see if I can get my camera in there. There's the nut on the back that way. And then I just have one more to do on this side, and I have to put a little bit of a tension on this leg of the engine mount to pull it forward, or pull it this way just a tad to get that bolt in. So I think I'll wait till I can get somebody over here to help me with that, where I can kind of put tension on over here and somebody can push the bolt in. So that will be done. And just by the way, just some other odd things I've been doing. I got my little ground strap on here. I've got all these nuts tight now, everything on here. This one will go to the actual starter, so this one isn't done yet, but all of that is now finished up. So, like I said, there's a lot of little things I'm doing that aren't really worthy of making a video, but that's the update so far on that. I put out the plans to see what else I need to do to the back end of the airplane, and I see this piece down here that I had powder coated quite some time ago, but I've never installed it on the airplane. And it's impressive because all of the holes are pre-drilled in here and they all line up perfectly. So Zenith does a real nice job of making sure that piece fits nicely. So this is the piece here that will hold the big kind of tail skid. It connects to here and it kind of comes down like this and up and through here. I think there's some rubber that goes in between here. So that's what this piece is for. Since the back end of my airplane will be white, I'm going to paint the back white and then rivet this on after it's painted. Now the other reason I got out the plans is because I wanted to see what direction this piece goes on the fuselage. This is this piece right here. So now that I know the correct direction for this, I didn't know if it went on this way or this way. So apparently it goes this way. I can get this cut and drilled. I can get this piece here cut and drilled. You can see this is a rudder cable fairing right there. This will go on top of that like that. And the only issue right now is that in order to get the rudder cables through this hole, I have to remove all of this, because on the top skin of the fuselage there's a big hole that I can stick my arm down into and push the rudder cables out of here. And that's one of the reasons I got the plans out, is because before I take all this apart to get to that hole, I wanted to see if there's anything else I need to do while it's all still built up. So that is what I'm working on right now. Now I don't really think there's anything else I have to do. I already showed you my rudder here, trimming the top of this to make sure it fits with this fairing. Now with all these fairings, like this fairing and these two fairings here, now that they're made, I don't have to worry about these until way later on. I can finish those anytime. They don't need to be finished now. They're trimmed and fit, but as far as sanding down the surface and filling it and sanding it smooth and painting them, I can do that at any time, so I'm really not worried about that right now. So I actually think that after looking at the plans, I don't really think there's anything else left for me to do back here with the stabilizer and the dorsal fins on. I still need the rudder on because, like I said, I'm going to work on these rudder cables, and I want to have the rudder cables come out of the hole and attach to the control horn here. But I think I can take all of this off now. Have you guys ever seen the funny meme where somebody's kind of making fun of having ADD, and they'll be telling a story, then they'll say, oh, look, a squirrel, and they'll go off in a completely different, look, a squirrel. All right, guys, sorry, I'm back. Anyway, this is me today working on the airplane. I'm all over the place. So I was just in a box of parts looking for the turnbuckles for the rudder so that I could get my cables routed, get them connected, and finish doing the back end of the airplane. Well, I came across a bag of bolts that are for the wing struts. So I had the bolts, and I thought, I wonder if these will fit in the bottom wing strut bracket on the fuselage. Because if you remember in a previous video, I said I had to remove the landing gear to remount those holes, and I just wanted to see if the bolts fit. So lo and behold, I took the first bolt, and it fit in the front. Now the back bolt didn't fit, but I'll show you how I made it fit without having to remove the gear. Now, as you can see, the front bolt fits, but the back bolt does not fit. It gets started in there, but it won't go in. So instead of taking the gear off, I rolled up a piece of sandpaper on the other side, and I just went up and down like this, enough to get rid of enough of the powder coating to let that bolt go in. This saves me so much time because now I don't have to remove the gear. Let's see if that worked. Nope, I gotta go a little bit more yet. I can feel the bolt just sticking out the bottom, but I've gotta go a little bit more. Anyway, that's all I did. I rolled up a piece of sandpaper, and I did that to the other side to get the bolt in there. So I'll finish up this side, and then with this side finished up, it's time to get the struts out, get those end fittings attached into the strut, and get some wings mounted on the fuselage. You know, I've been looking around my hangar, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, in another week or so, there was another pit sitting right there. Well, I still have lots of room to get the wings mounted on the Super Duty. What I'll do when I'm done with the rudder cables, I will take the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder back off, and I'll move the fuselage about 5 feet to its left, or to the right of your screen. That gives me plenty of room in this area for the left wing, and then it gives me plenty of room on this side for the right wing, and the fuselage will sit in here with the wings attached. And even if there were 4 airplanes in here, I've got plenty of room to get the wings attached to this airplane. So that is what's coming up next, and that's actually pretty exciting for me. I cannot wait to get the wings on this airplane. All right, I have fished my rudder cables through this hole, and I just kind of have it clamped in place back there. And what I want to look at now is this hole right here. All right, we have this nylon piece here that goes just like this, and you can see the bottom's going to need trimmed. And the way this works is it looks like this cable slides on the nylon up here. But what I want to be careful of is the back here, because although this can slide on the nylon, I don't want this cable sliding on this aluminum. And you can see right now it's touching the aluminum back here. So I think what I'm going to do is extend this slot back a little bit to give this cable room to clear the aluminum. So the front end will ride on the ride on the nylon. Then the back end will be through the hole, and then this piece here will cover it all up like that. And again, you can see where this is going to need trimmed on the top and bottom. So that's how it should all pancake together. I think I need to think about how this is going on, because this is where this piece would go right here. Now you can see I've drawn a black line here. That's anything below this line would need to be cut off. That means I could really only fit one rivet on the bottom, maybe about right here. So none of this would be riveted on, which I don't like. The top, you know, I could trim down nicely like that and put a couple rivets in here, but I really don't like how this piece fits. There's no room down here for the rivets because of this curve. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe I'll make the same tube that I made for my cruiser. Well, I was kind of hoping to get the rudder cable situation all finished up for this video, but I think I want to take some time and figure out exactly how I want to make that cable come out of the fuselage. I may end up making the same tube that I made for my cruiser. If I do that, I'm not going to film it because I already made a video on how I made that tube. And I think I can put a link somewhere up here on the top of the screen. If you don't see a link up there to that video, it'll be down in the description box below. So thanks again for stopping by and checking out this video. And make sure you subscribe if you want to follow along on the Super Duty project. See you again on the next video.